So, you've found yourself in Barovia, and the mists aren't just for show. You're trapped, and the only way out is through the master of this domain, Count Strahd von Zarovich. But you can't just walk up to Castle Ravenloft and knock. He's a centuries-old vampire lord, a military genius, and a master of his own cursed land. To defeat him, you need more than just sharp swords and powerful spells. You need the 3 legendary artifacts of Barovia. These aren't just magic items. They're the keys to turning the tables on the ultimate predator. Today, we're breaking down what they are, why they matter, and how they work together to give you a fighting chance. Let's start with the mind of the beast, the Tome of Strahd. This isn't a weapon you swing, it's a weapon you read. The tome is Strahd's personal journal, written in his own hand back when he was still a mortal man. It's part diary, part manifesto, and part confession. Inside these pages, you'll discover the story of a great conqueror, his consuming jealousy of his younger brother, Sergei, and the tragic love for a woman named Tatiana that drove him to make a dark pact and become the monster he is today. Think of it as the psychological blueprint for your enemy. Mechanically, the Tome of Strahd is a pure story tool. It doesn't cast a spell or deal damage. Instead, it reveals Strahd's deepest vulnerabilities, his motivations, his obsessions, and his habits. It explains why Barovia is trapped in this miserable state and often contains clues that will point you toward the other 2 critical items. So, why is a book so important for defeating a vampire lord? Because knowledge is your first and most crucial weapon. By reading the tome, you're not just learning lore, you're gaining tactical intelligence. You'll understand his patterns, what drives him, and what he fears. It humanizes him just enough to make the final confrontation feel personal and deeply emotional. You'll realize you're not just slaying a vampire, you're trying to undo a tragedy that has plagued this land for centuries. The Tome of Strahd gives you the why behind the how of defeating him. It's the strategic foundation upon which your entire plan will be built. Next, we move from the mind to the body, and this is where we get the firepower. I'm talking about the sunset. This isn't just any magic sword. The sunset is the weapon Strahd fears above all else. Story-wise, it was once the blade of a legendary vampire hunter. Though the original blade was shattered, its hilt survived, containing the sentient spirit of the sword itself, a spirit filled with righteous fury against all things undead. When you activate it, it doesn't have a metal blade. Instead, a hilt sprouts a brilliant beam of pure, scorching sunlight. In game terms, the Sunsword is an absolute game changer. It's a sentient weapon that deals radiant damage, which is a vampire's worst nightmare. But its most powerful feature is its ability to create sunlight. This isn't just a bit of bright light, it's the real deal. In Dungeons & Dragons, vampires like Strahd have a laundry list of weaknesses to sunlight. It stops his regeneration, meaning any damage you deal to him actually sticks. It imposes disadvantage on his attacks, making him far less accurate and deadly. It shuts down his legendary resistances and healing tricks, forcing him to fight desperately or flee. Without the Sunsword, fighting Strahd is like trying to box with a ghost underwater. He can phase through walls, heal faster than you can damage him, and toy with you endlessly. With the Sunsword he becomes mortal, he becomes vulnerable. It gives your party the power to actually stand toe-to-toe with him in a physical fight. It turns the dark, oppressive halls of Castle Ravenloft into your advantage. Wielding this weapon means you are no longer the prey. You are the hunter. It's the tool that lets you finally push him to war, a killing blow. The sunsword is your offense, your hammer, your primary means of putting the vampire lord down for good. Now we have the mind and the body, but we need one more piece to complete the trinity, the soul. This is the holy symbol of Ravenkind. This ancient relic is one of the oldest and most sacred artifacts in all of Barovia, possibly even predating Strahd himself. It was created by the faithful of the Morning Lord to shield the innocent and ward away the darkness. For generations, it's been protected by the Keepers of the Feather, the secret society of were-ravens who resist Strahd's rule from the shadows. This symbol is your ultimate defensive and control tool. In play, it does three incredibly powerful things. First, it supercharges the turn undead ability, allowing a cleric or paladin to send hordes of Strahd's minions scattering in terror. Suddenly, his army of zombies, skeletons, and vampire spawn becomes much less of a threat. Second, it has a hold of Vampire's ability, a save or suffer effect that can paralyze Strahd himself, leaving him completely helpless for a round. This is your chance to unleash everything you've got. But its most devastating feature is its sunlight ability. Once per day, the wielder can channel the power of the Morning Lord to create a massive burst of blinding, radiant sunlight in a large area. This is a tactical nuke against the undead. It can lock down Strahd, obliterate his minions, and create a safe zone for your party to heal, regroup, or press the attack. It's a tide-turning ability that can snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. The holy symbol makes Strahd's minions almost irrelevant and gives you a way to trap the master himself. It provides critical protection in the cramped, trap-filled corridors of Castle Ravenloft. And when you use it alongside the sunset, you can create overlapping zones of sunlight, leaving Strahd with absolutely nowhere to run. The symbol turns an overwhelming, terrifying encounter into a winnable, strategic fight. So, how do all three of these items work together in the final, epic confrontation? It's a beautiful, deadly symphony. The Tome of Strahd is the mind. You've already used it to understand your enemy, to predict his tactics. You know he'll try to separate you. You know he'll target the one he perceives as the weakest link. And you know what taunts will get under his skin. It gives you tactical and emotional clarity. The sunsword is the body. This is your primary offensive weapon. Its wielder is the front line against the darkness, the one who relentlessly pushes Strahd back. The constant sunlight stops his regeneration. The radiant damage chips away at his health, and it forces him to fight you on your terms. This is the weapon that injures the beast, and the holy symbol of Ravenkind is the soul. This is your ultimate control piece. It protects the party, neutralizes his army, and, in that one critical moment, it can stun him or hold him in place, creating the perfect opening for the Sunsword wielder to strike the final blow. It's the defensive tool that ensures your victory. When you bring all three of these artifacts together, you have everything you need. You have the knowledge of his weaknesses, a weapon to stop his immortality, a tool to trap him, two independent sources of sunlight, and the emotional weight to make the fight meaningful. The final battle is no longer just about rolling dice. It becomes a cinematic clash of radiant power versus ancient darkness, a desperate struggle against an unstoppable will. The story of the hunters finally cornering the ultimate predator. These three artifacts don't just make victory possible, they make it legendary. Thanks for watching. If you want more deep dives into the worlds of D&D, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments which legendary item is your favorite. Stay safe in the mists, and I'll see you in the next one.